Alright, hello class. In this short video, I'll go over the differences between 8A and 8B when we draw memory models. So if you took 8A in the fall winter quarter, we used the table way to draw the memory model. In AB, I'm more comfortable using just arrows and boxes. So both of them are equivalent to each other. They are just different ways to express the same thing. So this is one of the worksheet examples from 8A. Normally what people do in 8A is we say, well, there are a lot of references, so there is this reference table, right? And people say, well, this is more like in the heap. So you say, well, first, what are the references that we have? We have first this ARGS, you give it a name, right? At A, its value is null. And then there's another reference, which is this string at B. Its value is A comma B comma C backslash N and stuff. And then we have another reference C, which is this example. It is pointing to an object, right? So whatever this object is, so it's a CSV object. And then you have D1 at D, which is that reference over there. It points to the return value of this function call. So basically you have this list of objects in here, and those references that pointing to objects. Right? And then in 8A, I think we also have something on the stack. Basically, whenever there is a function call, a table is created for that function call. Right? So every function call is a table by itself. For example, the call over here, there's a call basically calling the constructor of the CSV object to create this object. That example will point to. So I think in 8A, what we did is we say CSV string table, or whatever the string is, the parameter is basically at B, right? So it's at B. There is a this. This is a CSV object. It points to the object that the example point to. So whatever example is pointing to, so this is pointing at the location at D. And then you have a table in here who has the same value as at B, which is this string that got passed in. And then you have trimmed, which is this reference in here. It has a value of whatever you remove the empty spaces in front and in end of the table. And then you have rows. This box is a little bit too small. Rows. You have header. And rows, it is an array. It contains a bunch of things in there. It's a string array. So this is kind of how we did it in 8A. The same thing in 8B. We still have a heap. We still have a stack, except instead of using at A, at B, at C, at D, sometimes it's just faster for us to use arrows to point to different things. So now let's look at this code and let's draw it the AB way, which is, as you can see, is exactly the same as 8A. It's just different ways to represent the same information. So we do have a stack, right? Whenever a function is called like this main function, we create a stack frame, which is like the table you see in 8A. So the first thing we have is we have a str. We have a str, which is this string reference. We also have a heap, right? This is where all the objects are. There is a string object. is basically A, comma B, C, and go on. We say this str is pointing to this object. Okay. And then we say, okay, then we have an example in the stack frame of the main. So this is the main stack frame. And then it is calling the constructor to create this object. So example will be pointing to an object of CSV type. So it should be pointing over here. And in this object, there are instance variables. One is the header. The other is the rows. Right? Both of them are references. They exist in the heap. So because they are reference types, they will be pointing to other objects in the heap. Rows will point to an array of things. Right? And header will be pointing to a string. So if you look at when we call the constructor, it is a function call. So there is another stack frame that is created in here. It is still in the stack. This is basically the constructor stack frame. You do have this, right? This in fact points to that object, the same object. And then you have table. Table points to the same string as over there. And then you first trim the table, you have a trimmed, right? Then rows. We don't have to draw the rows in here because this rows is part of the object. So we're looking at this rows over here on the right side. Rows equals to, you split based on the new line and you take -1. So basically I think you split this string into 3 parts. A header is the first row, right? So I think if you take rows, you remove the first part. So you're looking at rows will have not 4 things, but 3 things in there, right? Each of them will be pointing to a string. The first one is A, B, C. This is 8, 9, 10, and that is 5, 6, 7. Header will be pointing to the same element that A0 have. So header will be pointing over there. So this is the memory model that I tend to draw in 8B. It may seem a little bit messier compared with A, but the relationship is fairly easy to follow because of the arrows. So basically the add signs at A, at B, those things in 8A, they are basically translated into arrows. The tables you may have, like the reference tables in the heap in 8A, they are substituted as objects in here. The tables in the stack in 8A, they are basically changed into stack frames. So that's kind of the difference between them. Hopefully it makes a little bit more sense to you now, but we'll have more opportunities to learn as we progress. Okay, all right, that's it.